Hello, as usual it's me, Pavlo, and you came here for your daily dose of Ukrainian accent. And today I want to tell you about Bose QuietComfort Earbuds 2. Well, definitely not the shortest name, but jokes aside. I'm maybe not audiophile enough, but I really like Bose and their products. So QuietComfort 45 is one of my most used headphones. I use it for some phone calls and for some other duties, especially when my neighbor's doing renovation. And I really liked the first version of QuietComfort earbuds because of great active noise cancelling, and I enjoyed their fit. And of course, when second version was announced, I was really keen to make their review and to try them. Well, it takes some time, but finally I've got a pair of earbuds too. They are officially imported by our Bose distributor, so thanks to them for their assistance, and today I can tell you about them. So they were announced with price of $300, but now on the official site and on the Amazon and in other sources they are sold for $250, which is also which is a good thing. So what was changed from the first version? So they reduced the size, they changed fit a little bit, but remained the main idea. Also, they improved active noise cancelling, added automatic sound tune system, and improved the sound quality during the calls by adding new microphones. So a lot of promising features to have here. So let's have a closer look. As you can see, package is compact and I really enjoy it. So I like small packages when you have a lot of different gadgets at home and you want to store them in boxes. You usually prefer boxes being more compact. And also I like that it's not one-way boxes that Sony use, because the box for their XM4 often fell apart. So removing this outer sleeve, and inside we getting into the box. So on top we have case with earbuds themselves. So let me pull it out. Then some papers, international, Ukrainian localization, also instructions on using the tips, because they created a bit sophisticated system of tips, and the charging cable and some more papers at the bottom. So how to unpack this thing in an accurate way? I definitely don't want to damage them, but not sure about the correct way of unpacking. Yeah, here is the cardboard lock for that. So you're getting three tips, three sizes, three pair of tips of three sizes, and as you can see they are oval. And also you're getting this fit rings that you can use to improve the fit in your ears. So we'll show you a bit later. And here is the case itself. It became smaller, more compact, still not the smallest one, but pretty nicely pocketable. They have different color versions. This time I wanted to try the white one, because I usually taking black ones and sometimes I want something different. And here are earpieces themselves inside. So I like this case. It has a click is a bit too shouty, but of course it's not the main criteria for the earbuds. And also keep in mind that when you fit them, you sometimes need to push them deeper, because if you don't fit them at proper angle, that rubber fit thing can be at the can worsen the contact. So when it clicks okay, it's okay, but sometimes it's not fitting fully in the case. So but anyway, it's a matter of short usage here. And here are earpieces themselves. If you've seen first version, then you can see that they became smaller. And if you haven't seen it, you can check out my review. And they continue to using this half in-ear system. These tips are not going deep into your ear channel. You just slide them into your ear and they block your ear channel, but not go deep into it. That allows you really quick fitting them in place and removing, and also, at least for me, it's a really comfortable way of fitting these earpieces. They have sensors for proximity, so they can detect if you move them in ear or out. They have different microphones in different places to work with active noise cancelling. Here is earpiece. Let's remove it accurately. As you can see, unusual spout with something really curious inside. And here is this half tip. You can remove it and replace with another if you want to get other fits. Just pay your attention that it should fit this place, because there is some microphone inside. For me, they giving really comfortable fit, so I can't say for everyone, but for me this fit is really nice and I enjoy it. Also, they improved the control schema, and now you can slide the faceplates up and down to change the volume. You can tap them to different controls, you can remap that in the application, so a lot of different options. Also, Bose introduced here their new sound tweaking system, so when you put them in ears, they play a short sound, monitoring both acoustic environment around you and positioning of these earbuds in ear, and they compensate the sound depending on the information they gathered. What it gives, I can't say for sure, because I can't separate the part that was adjusted and not, but probably it improves the sound, because they sound really nice. They hold the connection really well in almost any conditions. They have multi-pairing now, multi-point pairing. They support SBC codecs for now and AAC, but Bose said that they will release firmware that will enable all aptX family here, including low latency, adaptive, and aptX HD. Not sure will it be done or not, but I'm thinking that Bose will fulfill their promise. It's highly likely. Work time is about 5 to 6 hours with active noise cancelling on, which I think also a pretty decent result. Here is their companion app. Actually, these earphones always try to save energy, and they trying to go to sleep like after a really short idle, so I put one earpiece on, and let's have a look at the companion app. So when it launches, it shows all Bose devices you have and connected to this app. I have just these earpieces now. And you can see battery status, picture, and so on. We have extra settings here, so you can change product name, how it will be visible via Bluetooth, update firmware, get some tips about work with them, test is current ear tips fitting your ears correctly. You can see some instructions, including video ones about this stability bands. Also, you can see all Bluetooth connections, and you can manage which device they remember. Shortcut, it's what to do when you long press on left and right earpiece. So far you have just two options, but at least some customization. And also here you can activate remembering mode. I will show what is the mode a bit later. Also here is equalizer settings. It's not like multi-band equalizer, but it's just a way to reduce or boost bass and treble. And actually it's more than enough for vast majority of situations to tweak the sound to your likings. So a really nice amount of customization here. Also self voice, when you do some phone call, what amount of your own voice you'll hear. You can adjust it so you won't be like screaming in public. In-ear detection, automatically play pause, automatically answer call, and automatically transparency. So, and voice prompts, you can change how do you like to hear them. So here are modes, and there are two modes now, and you can create custom one, but basically all that modes is just the amount of noise cancelling you can activate. For quiet mode, it's just active noise reduction, and for the aware mode, it's a transparency mode. Here you can activate this active sense thing, so you will hear yourself when you're talking, and you can manually switch between these modes, and I think it's a good option, so you don't have to remember. Actually, sorry, let me rephrase it from the start. I like that you have modes with manual switching, but not that extra features with GPS detecting where you are and switching that modes. I think that one is useless, but manually switching modes can be nice. At least, it's my subjective opinion, because I'm not like actively moving 10 times a day from one environment to other. Actually, source, it's all Bluetooth connections once again, equalizer, same as we see in settings, just some most frequently used features moved to the main screen additionally. So basically nice and accurate companion app where you can adjust equalizer and do some other necessary things. Here is a traditional microphone test. I am recording this part of the video with earbuds in my ears. I'm using their built-in microphones to record this part. Of course, I won't apply here any gain correction or equalization, so this piece of video will give you an idea of how their microphones sound. And of course about the sound. I am not sure what happened, maybe hell has frozen over, but Bose released bass-heavy earphones. All previous their models I've heard, they were neutral, sometimes bright, focused on the mids, upper mids and treble area to boost voice in a most noticeable manner. And it was okay idea for like phone calls, conference and so on. I think that was the idea of the tuning. But QuietComfort earbuds definitely changed a lot, and actually they deliver nicely V-shaped signature with really mighty bass if you like it. Clean mids, of course they seem a bit recessed, but anyway, and boosted trebles to give everything more detalization. And of course I'm speaking about the natural position of the equalizer, because it's easy to adjust the sound using that 3-point equalizer. Basically I prefer bass reduced mode, because sometimes I like bass, but I don't like when it's like overpowered. But of course it's a matter of taste, and I'm sure a lot of people will find that tighty and punchy bass pretty enjoyable. But here let's talk about the natural position of the equalizer, and it gives noticeably V-shaped signature. Bass goes to the maximum depth, and probably some digital signal processing here involved to even reconstruct that deeper layers of bass that were cut with Bluetooth codecs. Actually, DSP here does a really good job in like overcoming shortages of Bluetooth codecs, so even without aptX, sound is pretty nice. And maybe someday they will anyway deliver aptX as it was promised, we'll see. So, bass is impactful, it's rather big, weighty, speed is not maximum but pretty nice, and it delivers good punch, deeper layers are present to give you that necessary rumble. So, of course it's not comparable to wired option, but still pretty good amounts of bass. If you don't like quantity and you want quality, you tap the equalizer and you're getting nice detailed bass with pretty decent texturing, and even with attempts to give you small details to represent fully the low spectrum instruments. Of course, all that just related for the true wireless model. For this price you can get much more better wired model, but I won't repeat that constantly during the review. So keep in mind that it's all about the true wireless to true wireless, so apples to apples, oranges to oranges. And as an example for the low frequencies, I will once again use a great Ukrainian electronic music project Onuka and a track named Other. And you know, it's like really richly made project. They use a lot of folk samples, they use a lot of nature samples, and tunes are great, engaging, combining that typical electronic music groove with sometimes with bass, but sometimes with really, you know, detailed and pretty audiophilic samples, like some instruments, for example. And on top of that, of course, great vocal of main singer. And what I wanted to say. So bass here is nice, engaging, but at the same time really good stage, contribute to the whole track representation and gives that great contrast for electronic music when you get nice punchy bass, but at the same time like airy, spacious mids and treble, which delivers also a lot of engagement. Mid frequencies, of course, by default are reset compared to boosted bass and treble, but they have still a nice detalization, not trying to be too analytical, but at the same time, of course, thanks to that amount of details, mids are doesn't sound like too far away or something like that, because it's really nicely balanced and coherent. There is no some attempts to accent something in the mid frequencies, except of boost at the upper mids. So boost at the upper mids highlights the female vocal, make aggressive instruments sound a bit more aggressive, but in general nice weight distribution. Of course, on really bass heavy tracks by default you'll get some bass bleeding onto mids, but it's just unavoidable physics and it can be easily fixed by equalization if you don't like that. And as an example, sorry, forgot to say that imaginary stage is above average in width and in depth, and it's one of the best stages in the true wireless segment, so probably some DSP magic is also used here. And example for the mid frequencies, it's actually Rammstein Links 2 Drei 4. And actually, you know, I expected worse performance of these earphones with this track, but they have good detalization to represent guitars, and actually, of course, drums are accented, but not that much to shadow everything. So nice, pretty engaging performance. Of course, drums are a bit overboosted, but sounds more like engaging than annoying. And the vocal, guitars, percussions are played pretty well. Treble is also pretty nice. It's accented. If you don't like it, you can reduce it, of course, like everything in your hand. But I like a bit boosted treble. It gives a bit better sense of airiness and more sense of spaciousness. Of course, extension is just about average, maybe slightly above average. Maybe with aptX codecs, especially if they will implement aptX HD, it became better, but still it's enough to give you basic overtones, no things like layering or something like that. TWS models can't do that yet. But basic overtone saturation is nice, you're getting good amount of airiness. For me it's not too bright, too analytical, not too bright, not too piercing, even in the default position with noticeable boost. But if you're sensitive, luckily you have an option to reduce the amount of high frequencies, so in my opinion it's kind of a safe choice in this aspect too. And let's go to the example. It's Scorpions, Skywriter, in my opinion the best album by Scorpions, experimental, brave, with a lot of nice fresh ideas, but I suspect it didn't succeed well because everyone expected more classical Scorpions and they returned to their more classical sound, but this one was really fun, really recommended to you. And Skywriter is nice song with a lot of airiness, a lot of interesting effects that goes to the treble area, and these earpieces deliver it really well. So by default it's a nicely done V-shaped model with a lot of bass, but in general you can adjust it a lot thanks to the present equalizer, 3-band equalizer that actually can give you almost any signature you'd like to get. And of course about the comparisons, we've got a bunch of interesting stuff in this segment. And probably let's start with Sony. I always forgetting the proper index. Probably VF1000XM4, if I remember right, because recently Sony announced XM5. Actually, these earphones are better than Sony's, at least to me, by virtually any aspect. So for the bass head, they deliver more and more punchy and better defined bass. They have cleaner mids and actually bit better developed treble. Also they overcome Sony with active noise cancelling, because Sony was leaders in the past, but technologies doesn't stay in place, and so far actually Bose QuietComfort offering the best noise cancelling on the market. At least of all I've heard. Maybe I didn't heard some other models, but actually they have some similarity to Sony, but does everything better. Let's see, probably XM5 can overcome them or compete, but so far it's better in transparency and other things. Maybe Sony can beat them in the treble development with LDAC codec, but difference is not huge. So currently this model offers better value. Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless, I don't remember, 2, 3, actually the recent version for now. They have a bit more like balanced and a bit more audiophilic sound, but at the same time if you like more bassy tuning or like more fun, this will be better for you. And in other aspects like active noise cancelling, transparency mode and everything else, this one is better also without competitions. Speaking about Apple AirPods 2, as usual, it's a matter of your ecosystem. In the Apple ecosystem, AirPods Pro 2 are like number one choice in my opinion, because they offer a lot of extra features that other earphones doesn't offer, like instant switching, spatial mode for audio with head tracking, and a lot of other great things. And also Apple announced extra features like improved active noise cancellation, better transparency mode, including the mode that these earphones also already have when it's transparent, but shield you from some loud noises on the street or somewhere outside. In terms of active noise cancelling, so far Bose is better. We'll see what Apple will deliver. I actually like the idea that they improved AirPods Pro 2, and they probably will release some new models, but also they promise to improve existing ones. And for example, AirPods have wireless charging, while at least new models, while this one doesn't have, and it's a bit frustrating for the price tier. And in terms of sound, here you get more flexibility, you can get more bass if you like, you can reduce it, so like Apple is more balanced, more natural, but here you can adjust to whatever you like. Do you like bass heavy, for example, or not, and something like that. And DVLA, so not Phantom, DVLA Gemini, I always try to say Phantom, but Phantom is their full-size speakers. The Violet Gemini is still the most like natural model if you want to listen to classical music or something like that. The Violet are the best option I've heard. They are not as good in terms of noise cancelling or something like that, but here you're getting better non-sonic features. So to summarize everything, you're getting top of the art, top-notch active noise cancelling, really good transparency mode. Probably only AirPods are better here, and nice sound that you can adjust. Pretty good lifetime from single charge. So really good true wireless model by Bose, and I like the way of changes they've select.